May we ask you to stand next to the Grey Cup for a photo opportunity.
Thank you.
So first question.
Hi, Luca here from TSN. There's a great picture of you guys that was posted of Corey, you hitting Jason as in your playing days. Just what is that moment and memory kind of like for you guys playing against each other and now coaching against each other?
Yeah, I think just looking back on that, I think that was it was cool just because that was my first CFL game ever. I think that was 2010 Labor Day. You know, this league, man, it's such a tight-knit community. I'm sure in Grey Cups past you could probably dig up pictures of the head coaches doing the same stuff, but yeah, I think it's just cool that somebody dug that up. You know what I mean? But he got the ball off, you know, so I didn't do my job.
Well, it was towards the end of my career, so it was my last year playing, and I did see the ball being thrown, so I was thankful as well. When the guys on the team gave me ribbing about that, they all at least said the ball was off. So, but yeah, I concur with Corey that years past you could probably do the same thing, but it's obviously a special memory. Playing in this league special, coaching in it is as well.
Thank you. Next question, Eric Leblanc.
Hello, Jason. I'd like to ask you about the 4-2-5. I know it was there in 2023. It's probably to another level this year. How inspirational it is for you, but also for your players?
Well, I mean, when you look back on the history of the Montreal Alouettes and you know Lou Heyman and how he, you know, when he was the owner and thought of the name of the Alouettes and being the homage to the 4-2-5 squadron, bombing squadron in World War II, and that's where the name arrived. And to be a French squadron as well on top of it. Everybody knows how important Montreal, Quebec, and the 4-2-5 are to this team. And to see it culminate into us winning the Eastern Final and the Quebec flag being out displayed and everybody chanting the 4-2-5, that tells you all you need to know about how important it is to be representative of that for us.
Studio and Canadian Press. For you, Jason, how often will you be checking in today on just Davis Alexander's progress from your staff?
Well, I got to see him this morning, and I'll see him again for a team meeting, and then he'll be watching film and doing all of the other things throughout the day. I'm trying to focus on some other things. I know everyone wants to focus on Davis. We've got to put together a game plan and all those things, but he'll be a part of it. And obviously, I'll talk with Danny and the staff and the medical staff and always be mindful of what Davis is doing.
And have you ever in your career experienced a similar injury to his?
Well, I've had a few surgeries due to hits, but I would never ran fast enough to pull anything. So I cannot relate whatsoever to what he has done. I'm just grateful and thankful that he's been able to play as many games with what he's dealing with.
Next question, JC Abbott.
Yeah, JC Abbott, 3 Down Nation. Jason, we know that you're a fiery, competitive guy. Does it add any additional juice to this matchup that it's against a team that essentially didn't want you back before you joined the Alouettes?
Yeah, I mean, I guess everybody could look at that as human nature, that you'd always have, you look for motivation no matter where it comes from. I'm long past that. I've found a home, very appreciative of the home where I currently am, and thankful for the people I work with every single day. I have a smile on my face every day. And sometimes things happen for reasons. And if this was something I had to go through to land where I have, I'm very grateful and thankful for it. That's all I'll really say about it.
What do you think that Corey Maas has brought to that Riders organization that maybe wasn't there when you were in Saskatchewan?
I mean, I'm not there now, but what I witness and what I see is a whole bunch of guys that play extremely hard for that man. And the proof is in the pudding. Watching them play and how they play is an emulation of how he played. So, I mean, I think he's brought a lot, and probably more than I know, because I'm not in there every day to see it. I just see it from the outside, and I'm super impressed by it. So, you know, he's provided a team every single day I know that has belief in themselves and that they can win every game.
Next question, Justin Dung, then Frédéric Daigle, then Josh. Please go ahead, Justin. Oh, yeah.
You faked me out, gee. Justin Dung, 3downnation.com. Jason, I'll start with you. The topic du jour, it seems like, in the Canadian Football League is head coaches wanting to be general managers or thinking about being general managers. Has that thought process ever crossed your mind, and how involved are you in the team's personnel with Danny Machocha?
Well, I think it's not, let's say, crossed my mind, but I'm aware of what most head coaches become down the road later in life. I mean, you see a lot of examples of it. I mean, obviously, with Danny, I'm heavily involved. I'm not involved with contracts, but I'm involved with the day-to-day personnels on our football team, and obviously having a say on our 45-man roster and who's in our building. That, and then in the off-season, dealing with all those things. But, you know, is that what I focus on? No, not whatsoever. Is that something I aspire to do down the road? I'm not really thinking about it, to be quite honest with you. I'm just aware of it because it's out there and you see it. And it seems like a lot of guys become head coaches and then move on to that at some point. And I can understand it because as a head coach, you are, you know, around it quite a bit. But right now, my main focus and everything I love to do is in coaching.
Corey, I'll ask you, your former colleague with the Toronto Argonauts, Ryan Dinwiddie, has gone on to Ottawa to take those dual roles, head coach and general manager. Have you ever thought about that down the road, as Jason admitted, and is it something you might like to do at some point in the future?
Yeah, just kind of same thing Jay is saying. Like, obviously we see that it happens. You know, I'm only year 2 doing what I'm currently doing, you know, and that's, my focus is completely there. But, you know, the relationship that J.O. and I have, similar to Jay and Danny, like, you know, we're hands-on putting the roster together and anybody coming in and out of the building. So, you know, my brain hasn't even gone that direction, you know, just focused on what's on my plate currently.
Thank you, Justin. Next question, Frédéric Daigle.
Yeah, Jason, right over here. You explained to us that AC and you had to scramble for some kind of a new game plan mid-game when Davis was injured. Is it a case this week that you're preparing 2 game plans just in case he's not able to run his full game?
Well, we're going to be prepared for every scenario, and obviously, you know, you have to be. I mean, we run a certain system and we do certain things, and it's always, you know, a lot of it is based on the opponent. And so we'll look at and decide what we can and cannot do. We do have 3 quarterbacks around the roster, and you have to have stuff on there all the times for all 3 of them. So, but obviously the main focus is going to be with Davis, and we will see what he can and cannot do. I know this, he's going to go and he's going to play, and we'll be prepared for him to play, but a lot of that will be based on what the Saskatchewan Roughriders do on defense, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, on the other end, Corey, for which Davis do you prepare for this Sunday?
You know, we go into it looking for the best version of everybody, man. It's, you know, at this point of the year, you know, this game, it's easy for guys to sacrifice a lot, whether it's, you know, their time, obviously, but, you know, everybody's banged up. But if you're on the field, the coaches, the team, everybody's got faith in you. And I think, you know, teams that make it to this point, they got faith and belief in each other. So I'm expecting the best version of Davis, and that's the only way we can approach it from that standpoint. But, you know, like he's saying, quarterback's got to be prepared for all 3. Defensively, we got to be prepared for anything as well.
Thank you. Next question, Josh Frame-Sem, Red Gray, and Taylor Allen. Josh.
Josh Frye-Sem with the Free Press. Hey, Jason, we talk about Davis a little bit more. How much of your offense is predicated on his mobility and his ability to create? I mean, can your offense actually have the same kind of success in your mind if he isn't 100%?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that's the case. I mean, he provides us an absolute weapon with his legs and his escapability and what he does with his feet. And, you know, thankful for us, we don't create a lot of things for him to get out all the time. I mean, when he does decide to go, he goes. And then whatever happens from there is solely based on his decision-making and his abilities. But the rest of the offense that he operates is what our offense is. And all of our quarterbacks have had a degree of success, you know, and we've had the offense in for quite a long time in this league with a variety of different quarterbacks, some having the same attributes that Davis does possess, and others that have not even close. But ultimately, what Davis does possess it is special in my opinion, but I think he can operate our offense without that as well.
Just also curious to hear from your perspective, 2023 to 2025, parallels between those two teams? Or how do you kind of see the two teams and maybe the story, the journey to get here?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is the 25 team is made up of a lot of guys that experienced 23, you know, and 24. So there's experience of the biggest high in the world to the biggest low. And our season was kind of a microcosm of that. A very fast start and then a big lull. And then now we're hot like we were in 23. So I think there's a lot of guys on our team that feel that. But now you add that, it's the 25 version too, with a lot of new faces that have learned from the 23 and 24 guys. And, you know, ultimately, I think Corey said it, you know, when you get to this time of year and you've been this successful, everyone believes you're capable of winning. Well, that 23 team absolutely believed they were capable of winning it all. This team's no different. So there's a lot of parallels, but that's the biggest similarity.
Thank you. Next question is from Britton Gray. Please go ahead, Britton.
Britton Gray, 980 CJME. Corey, just with all the extra things that are going on here this week, the Grey Cup and everything going on, how important is it to have those guys who you guys have brought in with that experience to help the guys who haven't been here before?
Yeah, I think it's huge. You know, just looking at you know, potential guys that we brought in last year and or this year. You know, bringing in people with winning pedigree and experience specifically in this game and this week, I think it bodes well. Not necessarily, I mean, well, for sure this week it helps, but just following the process of what it takes to get to this point. So I think for ourselves, you know, having a lot of those guys in the room, you know, they've been echoing, you know, everything that they've experienced, and same with the coaching staff as well. You know, so, you know, for us as a team, this is our first time being here, but not the first time for a lot of people in the room.
It's been 12 years since the Riders have been back to the Grey Cup. You guys had the send-off yesterday. Just what were you feeling from that and the energy from the crowd? Yeah, you know, it's sad to say that it's expected in Saskatchewan, you know what I mean? But even when you expect it, you know, it's special, man. Our fan base, you know, I've been in a few places around the league. This one's top notch. So, you know, for us as a team, our guys since training camp, you know, we want to put together a team that represents the province and how that province works. And for them to come and show up, you know, I'm sure they had other things to do, but to send us off like that, it was special, and our guys appreciate that.
Thank you. Next question, Paul Friesen.
Hi, Paul Friesen, Winnipeg Sun. The Grey Cup and the CFL game will change a bit after this year, as you guys know. Particularly year two. Now that you've had some time to kind of let the changes sink in, could you just give your thoughts on specifically the shorter field, the movement of the goalposts, and the smaller end zones?
Yeah, if I'm going to be really honest with you, I haven't thought too much about it yet, man. Just been focused on what we got going on. We'll have plenty of time in the off season for myself. I'm not going to speak for Jay, but yeah, there's going to be some changes to it, and you know, schematically, I'm sure that's going to change a bunch. But I just really haven't had the time to sit down and diagnose all that quite yet.
No gut feeling for it?
I haven't put my attention to it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jason?
Same exact response. I have nothing to say to it, to 26 or 27. I'm solely focused on 25, finishing it off.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The three next questions are Taylor Allen, Rob Van Stone, and John Hodge. Taylor?
Corey, the Saskatchewan Roughriders being in Winnipeg for the Grey Cup is an absolute nightmare for Bomber fans. Obviously, you'd be happy to play this game anywhere, but the fact that you guys are doing it in your rival's backyard, does that add anything to this for you guys?
You know, I got to say, you know, maybe I'd be lying to say that, you know, we didn't bring that up at some point in the year, but you know, we're grateful to be here in this game. You know, wherever it was, honestly. Now, what's really cool that I think about the location of this is how close it is for our fan base to get here. So, looking forward to that. You know, that's what I think is really cool about the location of this above anything else, is just for Rider Nation to be able to get here.
Can you share at all how you brought it up throughout the year that the game is in Winnipeg for extra motivation and whatnot?
I mean, just really like you just said it right there. Not much else to say. I think they all understood. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question, Rob Van Stone.
Hey, Corey, Rob.
Come on, Rob.
Sorry, rookie mistake at 61. This is your the fourth capacity in which you've been at a Grey Cup: player, defensive line coach, defensive coordinator, and now head coach. Is it different just going through the week with one capacity to the next, or is there a similarity or a common thread?
Yeah, I think, looking back from a player's perspective and then, going up in different positions, it's just, truthfully, just more and more stuff gets added on your plate. You know what I mean? So from this week, it's a little bit different experience, but I just, just having the understanding of how to navigate it, makes it a little bit easier in understanding. But yeah, I think, as a player, you're just so locked in on what's happening for your job and what's happening around you. And then, as a position coach, you got a bunch of guys to deal with. As a coordinator, even more guys. And as a head coach, ultimately, you're responsible for the whole deal, right? So, yeah, I think it changes a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's turning over every stone possible and making sure that you got everything covered.
And one for Jason. I mean, it's hard to believe, but it's been 20 years since 05 and that run that you were a part of. What are your recollections of that, and how special a memory is that for you?
Obviously, I think every time you get to the big game and you win it, those are memories for life. That 05 season, I mean, particularly the Grey Cup run in the playoffs, culminating with an exciting game, double overtime game, and to win it all. I mean, doing with someone I'm still working with, and Danny. I mean, I can still see him jumping up and down after the game and all that stuff, and hugging Ricky and the team and going up on the stage together and all those things that come with it. There's just nothing quite like it. And even though it's been 20 years, you still reminisce every now and then, but they're special memories.
Thank you. Next we are John Hodge, Jim Bender, and Jeff Hamilton. John?
It's John Hodge, 3 Down Nation. Corey, I wanted to ask you about Trevor Harris, a guy who maybe in the last little bit has become a little more outspoken. He's talking about the Riders being big dogs. He's talking about, wanting to not talk about Nathan Rourke, saying, he's going to be the face of the league later, but not now. Now's our time. I'm curious how you feel about maybe the change in Trevor, and if you feel there has been a change in Trevor.
Yeah, I think maybe a change for you guys. Trevor is super confident. He's one of those guys where when you get to know him, it's just like, I wonder if everybody else knew that. But for him, I don't know. I'll take it with, our focus is just, worry about us. And, I think while I wasn't in the presser, the starting quarterback's going into a big game in a year and they're asking about the other quarterback. For him, he just wanted to focus on our team. So, I know that can give motivation to other teams, and certainly not, what I would want. But in the same breath, where I know it's coming from for Trevor is just, he just wants to talk about his team and his brothers, man. So I got nothing but love for that guy. He's an unbelievable competitor and a great human being. So
a bunch of the Alouettes downstairs earlier were talking about how Davis's attitude and some of his trash talk has galvanized that team. Do you feel like your team has responded positively to Trevor maybe being a little bit more outspoken publicly?
I don't know. I didn't really discuss that with the guys. If they do, it is whatever. I don't know if he needs to say anything to get the guys ready for a game. They should be self-motivated to do that. But, certainly, with Davis and what he brings, and if that gets the team going, for him, I'm sure keep it up, man. It's working, right? So, that guy, he's a hell of a competitor, and you can see it even how he plays quarterback. I see, like, damn, that dude could probably play linebacker, with his mentality. You know what I mean? I love it. So, yeah, man, I think everybody's motivated differently. For us and our guys, we got to be self-motivated and really just lean on each other after that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, Jim Bender.
Jim Bender, Canadian Press. First, Corey, to follow up on the Trevor Harris talk. just how important is to have a quarterback like him? I believe he leads the league in accuracy and leadership. Can you just talk about that a bit?
Yeah, you know, he's done it for such a long time, man. Super efficient. He sees it well. You know, he can get you out of a jam because he's getting to his fourth read, you know what I mean? And some quarterbacks, you know, they can't stand back there and do that. And he can diagnose pretty quickly as well to get the ball out fairly quickly. And then we need to take chunk plays, be it deep or intermediate. You know, he's shown to be able to obviously do that. He's running more, which kind of, I don't know if I'd like a ton, but he's showing a little bit of mobility. You know, like guys that get on him about that. But I can't say enough great things about Trevor, man. I'm just, you know, it was a big part of the reason why, you know, coming to Saskatchewan was so intriguing, knowing that Trevor Harris was the quarterback. So tons of respect years prior going against him. So much more love now that I get to spend every day with the guy.
Jason, how do you try to shut down a quarterback like that?
Well, it's difficult. It's a challenge. And I mean, he's seen it all. There's not too many things that man hasn't seen. He's super experienced, and he does get rid of the ball and diagnose things rather quickly. It's the same old thing you talk about experienced quarterbacks. You know, you got to affect him some way, whether that's pressure in the pocket, giving him different looks, just slowing him down a little bit. You don't have to slow him down a ton, just enough to where he maybe hesitates slightly. I mean, he's not going to hesitate too many times, but you can get him a few times to do it. But ultimately, we just got to play great team defense. You know, be gap sound, be alignment, assignment, technique on every single play, and compete our butts off, and do that every single play. And he's going to get his. He's been doing it for a long time, and he, like you said, he's about as accurate a passer in the league. So you just got to, when the moments come, you got to make them happen. But you got to do a lot of things to slow him down, and it's very difficult.
And my last one is for Corey. I'm just wondering if you've been spending a lot of time in casinos lately.
Casinos?
Considering your gamble in the Western final.
Oh, you lost me there. I said, oh. Hey, my wife might be watching, man. I don't gamble. Yeah, no. Staying out of casinos.
Thank you.
Next three, Jeff Hamilton, Matthew Shinetti, and Derek Taylor. Please go ahead, Jeff.
Now that your temperature's up, Corey. Sorry, Jeff Hamilton right here from the Winnipeg Free Press. I find the Grey Cup week is a great week for reflection. You two are obviously two of the best coaches in the league. You're both here for a reason. I'd love to hear your insight about what makes a great head coach in the CFL today. And I'm going to start with you, Jason, because you obviously were head coach before. You've been doing it longer than Corey. And I want to not necessarily focus on a new generation of players, but the needs and wants of players today are much different than when you guys played the game. So I'm wondering, what is it that makes a great head coach in the CFL today?
Well, players make a great head coach, in my opinion. That's where you start. Our players are the most important people in our building. And to make them feel like that every single day is important. They have to come into an environment that's conducive to learning, where they feel like you have their back and you'll do anything for them. That's where it starts. And you want to do that with a great team of other guys, individuals. Anybody that walks through our room has to have respect. Respect for the organization, respect for the guy next to him, and do it for them. That's where it all begins, in my opinion. And then you got to hold them accountable. They want to be held accountable. You just got to do it in a good way and set standards. And you know, we have a certain way we want to play, a certain way we want to operate, and we hold our players to that. But again, we treat them with the utmost respect, day in and day out. Love them up, but coach them hard and expect a lot out of them. And when you do that, you know, I feel like success comes, but it's the players that make the coaches. I mean, and shoot, head coaches are made by the other coaches and throughout the organization. We have a saying in our building, it takes everyone. It takes from the top all the way throughout, and there's no bottom. It's everybody to win. And so when you win, everyone looks at the head coach, but it's taken a lot of individuals to make that thing happen. And to me, it starts with respect and the right people in the building, and then compete like hell and play for each other. And to me, that's a great start.
Corey, you're 2 years into this. I know you probably want to say ditto to what Jason just said, but I want you to expand just because of your age, where you're at, obviously even closer to the player's age, but what do you think makes a great head coach?
My age, what are you trying to say?
You're like 30. I'm telling you, you're young.
No. Look, Again, ditto for sure. There's just so much that goes into it to making a successful head coach, man. You got to have a different support system, and from a staff standpoint, I'm very lucky, man. But to make it probably the easiest way I can put it is relationships. For myself, I can't speak for anybody else, but relationships and how you treat people, everybody in the organization. Playing off of what Jay says, understanding, each individual person is completely different. Your individual relationship with each person can kind of dictate on how we want to get to the end result. Some guys need to be, they need a stern hand sometimes, but you won't know that unless you have the relationship with the individual to know. Some maybe don't respond well to that. If you don't understand how each individual ticks and you don't have that relationship, you're not going to get the best out of these guys. And as head coaches and coaches in general, you want it. That's the end result. You want to get the best out of that person, and you want it for them, not for yourself. You want it for them. So what can you do individually to make sure that you can get whatever point across so that they understand and can take it in? And then ultimately, you hope that everybody else has that same mentality throughout the facility, which I believe we do. So I'd say, to make it easy, relationships.
Thanks. Just one last one for you, Jason. A lot of talk, obviously, about Davis Alexander's injury. I'm wondering for you, and I mean this respectfully, I'm wondering if you, as an organization, feel like you would do things differently with Davis this year. And I bring that up because when you brought him back from the hamstring injury, obviously you guys were in an okay situation. You're playing a team who wasn't high in the standings. And just maybe the logic behind that and whether you do things differently.
Well, I mean, I have so much respect for every team in this league. I would never say that about anybody. You're doing things differently because of the opponent. We try to stay focused on winning and our process every week, no matter who the opponent is, a faceless opponent to us. But you learn as you go throughout a season. This is the first time this has been presented to us the way Davis's injury was early in the season. We felt like we did what was best for the organization. That's what we're always doing. Obviously, you have time to reflect. Man, could we have held him out a little bit longer and had this not happen again? Well, now we held him out for 8 weeks. He's played a few more weeks, and something similar has happened. But the big thing is just going to be learning from this, and we'll do that in the off season. We'll look at everything to try to get better everywhere, and that's Davis included, because we all have a hand in that. But ultimately, when you have a conviction and you go with it, you got to live with it, but you can learn, and we absolutely will.
So we have actually 5 questions lined up. So I'm doing the last call for a question now. The next 3 are Matthew Shinetti, Derek Taylor, and Lucas Celebre. Please go ahead, Matthew.
Jason, just over here. Back here, Jason.
Okay.
Tyrell Richards, you talk about it takes everybody. He was awarded the East Division All-Star in the special teams category. He has done a lot for your team, the grimy, gritty work. How is he reflective of this team's culture in that sense of it takes everybody in competing?
Well, I'll say this. We talk about 3 things you need to play for us and stay on our roster. We talk about ability, toughness, and effort. So ability is the reason they're in the profession, but it's got to show up on the field. You got to make plays. You got to do those things, and it's got to be consistent in practice and on the field. Toughness, mentally and physically, to make it through an entire season. That's 18 games doing it. Effort, you got to have it. It's got to look different. You got to run to the ball a certain way. You got to be physical, all those things. We need to see it show up. He possesses all 3 of those things. And this year, the one thing that he's done better than other years is he stayed healthy the whole entire season. And that's a big change for him in the offseason. That's a commitment to us and to himself and to the guys he plays for. It was tremendous. Watching him come in at camp, I think all our training camp, he walked to and from our facility, which is about a 30-minute walk every single day. He was committed right then and there. I could see it was different. And then it was important for him to be on our roster all year long. And how did he stay on it? By making plays, by gutting through things, and then giving tremendous effort when he's on the field. So he absolutely epitomizes what we're about, and he'll give us everything he has every single time he's out there.
Just a little bit on the Sean Oakman situation. How did you see the locker room react to that? And you build a culture sometimes for situations like that. Take us through what the team's reaction was, and if they had any say in the ultimate decision to release him?
No, they didn't have any say, I'll say that first and foremost. It was right before our game. So when I went in the locker room, you know, the day we played, it was compete, focus, and discipline. And the focus part was, let's focus on us right now. You know, having talked to Sean, you know, that's what he wanted, was us to focus on us and the game at hand, and he needed to focus on what he needed to do. You know, after, you know, the fact and the matter, that's repeated the same line. There's nothing we can do about it. It's in other hands. He's got his things he's dealing with, we've got ours, and we're going to stay strong with one another. Doesn't change how we feel about him or what he did for us in our building, but you know, we've got to move on and we've got to do the things we're doing, and that's it. It's all about focus right now and on the Montreal Alouettes.
Were you disappointed? What were your feelings? Because ultimately you give your guys a lot of agency. You give your guys a lot of trust if they buy into what the team has built. So what
yeah,
were your
I mean, I think you know, as a human being, you know, knowing Sean and knowing the man who played for us and all those things, I have empathy for him that way. But choices and things that are done, and I don't know all the particulars of everything, and I don't know how it's going to all play out at the end. I know he's not with us any longer. I know he's not playing in the CFL right now. So, you know, what's been done has been done. And the one thing that I would say always is you got to live and grow no matter what in any situation. And we have to deal with what we're dealing with, and he's got to deal with what he's dealing with. And they're two separate things right now. But, you know, that's all I really will say about it.
Thank you. Next question, Derek Taylor.
Yeah, Derek Taylor from CJOB in Winnipeg, just at your 11 o'clock. Corey, since the end of the 23 season, the Riders have come a long way. I would say you deserve most of the credit for that. Who would you or what would you give credit to for the turnaround the Riders have had?
No, we don't got enough time, man. There's so many people that go into you know what I think we're doing, and I'm sure Jay would. I mean, he's already said that, how the ticket office, you know, for example, you know, how they even come together to you know, whether it's talking with me or talking with other people in the facility, you know, how, I mean, Rob Vanstone, for crying out loud, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's a part of it. There's so much, man. So for me to stand here and say, you know, I can't even accept that. There's just so many people that are a part of what we're doing. We're the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. My title is just the head coach, man, but we're a full organization, full team.
Forgive me, is it two guys that play for you now that you played with? Tavon Campbell, Micah Johnson?
You know, the TC is kind of tough because I think his rookie year, I was almost a dang coach then, man. I was already hurt. I was cooked, you know, so.
It was officially your last season.
Yeah, man. So I don't want to take credit for that, but technically, yes, we were both on the roster, but yeah, man. So I don't know what that says about them or what that says about me. I wasn't a great athlete. Those guys are, or they're old. I don't know, so.
What's it like coaching a guy that you were peers with is not the right word, but you know, I hope you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know, with Micah, I think it's a little bit different because TC had some time with us, and then you know, he went to Montreal, and then you know, ultimately down south. So, but just having that relationship with him is still awesome. You know, early we reflected on it, and it's pretty cool. But the working relationship is the working relationship. But again, just trying to build separate relationship with everybody everybody's gonna be different. With Micah, what I'd say is, you know, having him as a rookie, you know, playing next to me, being the elder statesman, you know, I kind of arm around him anyway. You know, just seeing the kind of talent that the kid had, and you know, he could understand making a switch to that position, you know, the kind of player that he could be. And then transitioning, you know, luckily enough, being able to transition into coaching right out of playing doesn't happen often, but to be able to coach him right away, I think was easy to set the foundation with our relationship and how we operate, you know, coming to today. So, you know, ultimately, you know, it's not a secret. Everybody knows that we played together, but, you know, for better or worse, like he's probably going to get it the worst if he messes up, you know, in front of everybody. So, but that's the relationship that we've built. I know what makes him tick. So I honestly, it's a unique situation, but one honestly that I enjoy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next question, Luca.
Jason over here. Davis Alexander, one of the things that stands out about him is his trash talking for you, were you a trash talker as a player, and what is that dynamic like now as a former quarterback, head coach of him, and watching him do this as kind of a big part of his game that not only gets the team fired up, but it seems like fires himself up as well?
Well, first of all, I'd like him to just be himself. So what you're seeing is what he is. I mean, he's a very competitive person. Obviously, he's the type of guy that looks for every piece of motivation he can find, and when he sees it, he lets you know about it. And he's not afraid to use his mouth. Was I like that? Only if someone talked to me, and that was, you know, every now and then it would come out. But I understand. I can relate. I think anybody can. You know, when something gets your juices flowing, there's times you react to it. Well, he reacts a lot to it, and it seems to give him a ton of energy, and it gives our team energy. So, you know, we're playing off that a bit. You know, if it doesn't come out, it doesn't come out. But obviously, I just want him more than anything to be true to himself and who he is every single day, and that's good enough for all of us.
Thank you. So we have the last four questions are Dan Ralph, Justin Dunk, Dave Naylor, and Farhan Lalji.
Hi, Dan Ralph, Canadian Press, and this is for both of you, please. Both of your defenses are very, very tight and very, very active in the middle. For both of you, how important is the linebacker play to your defensive success?
You know, extremely. You know, we coach 1 of 12, but you know, our linebacking core, we ask them to do a lot, and linebackers in general. You know, you got to be a part, obviously, in the run game and in the passing game, but it be it, you know, rushing a passer or dropping in coverage. And depending on which team, you know, their defense, I mean, man, they're all over the place. You know what I mean? So you got to be a really intelligent player to play the linebacker position. And the more you can do, but just, you know, watching their defense and the things that they're able to do, you know, you sit back and you're like, man, it's awesome, you know. I feel the same way about our defense as well. Just watching what they're able to do, it's incredible, man. So crucial, no doubt, but don't lose sight of the fact that it's 1 of 12.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at defense, it's team defense, generally speaking. But when you ask about the linebacker position, I mean, there's a lot of stats that get filled up by linebackers on both defenses. They fill the sheet up, and they're making plays. And I know it's the help of everybody, but those guys do it, and they do it at a high level. And our guys, you know, the one thing about Bev and Sank in the middle of that is those guys haven't missed for 3 years that I've been there. Those guys play every practice. They're there every single game. They've been a stalwart there. Yeah, Jeff to that mix, and Najee, and I mean, they are all over the place. I think they're very active in our defense, and we move guys around exceptionally well. So it's fun to watch, and their defense, man, there's a lot of plays being made by those positions. So the linebacker position is in good hands for both teams.
Thank you. Next question, Justin. Oh.
Justin Duncan, 3 Down Nation. Jason, for you, can you explain the whole backstory to 30 cal?
The backstory to 30 cal. Well, in 23, I think we had something to do with the practice where the defense they do some different walkthroughs, they do some different things, and all of a sudden they couldn't go where they needed to go, so they did a challenge with each other and put 2 30 cal bikes together and did 30 cals. Try to burn 30 cals as fast as you can on an air bike. And it hurts, and when we got the report back by the team, it was a great competition. We're built on competition, so try to do as many competitions as we can throughout the week together. And all of a sudden we said, well, next week we'll do it as a team. It can't just be defensive guys doing it, so we'll do it everybody. And then it was coaches included, and then we just had some success as we were doing that with our team winning, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. So now every single week we try to do a 30 cal to push the limits on our conditioning and suffer. And guys look forward to it every single week. It's something I think that separates us. Not too many teams want to do it or have done it, but we're willing and able and love it. And it's part of what we do each and every week.
I've got so many follow-up questions, but for the uninitiated, can you explain how the 30 cal is measured? You're not burning 30 calories.
Yes, if you watch wrestlers, the wrestlers do this quite often. They'll take an air bike, they get on it, they hit 30 calories, or however many they do it, we do 30 calories. try to push an air bike and try to burn 30 calories and see how long it takes you. For bigger guys, they can do it on our team. I think 19 seconds is the best. For a smaller guy, might get into the 40s or 50 seconds. But if you will give it everything you have to where you have nothing left, which is what we ask our guys to do in practice and we ask our guys to do in the game, it will hurt you. And it'll hurt you really bad for a number of minutes. And our guys are willing to do that each and every week and try to break those records every week. So you can tell when someone doesn't do it right, because you do it the first time, you hurt, and then the next time you may do 5-10 seconds different. We know you didn't give everything. So that's all it is. It's a window to your soul, as we like to say. How much are you going to give us? And it's all on you. It's a choice you make. You want to make the choice to get better or not? And it's for the next guy next to you. It's not for you. It's for the guy next to you. So give her. And we take pride in it, obviously, and it's something we have our 30 cal here with us, and we're going to do it. So it's just something we enjoy.
You mentioned earlier that you allowed Davis Alexander to be himself. Leading into the Winnipeg game and after the Winnipeg game, there was a lot of confidence, let's say perhaps trash talk leading into the game in front of the mics. Did you go and have a conversation with him and say, hey, you can trash talk as much as you want on the field, but if the mics are in front of you, do you want to peel it back a little bit?
No, I mean, honestly, kind of what Corey said about Trevor, you kind of just, maybe you prefer not, but you just deal with it. Our guys aren't going to back down from anybody, from anything. Anyways, the way we approach the week, we have confidence in our process, we have confidence in our abilities, we have confidence in our team in general. Just because someone says anything or does anything to get anybody riled up, oh, so be it. We're just going to keep fighting and keep competing. And that's what our culture is built on, is competing. So if it comes out that trash talk happens, oh, well. I mean, I don't want anybody to tone back who they are. You know, obviously I think people learn and they grow and they just get different with experiences and maybe feel differently down the road. But that's a choice that's made, or that's a thought process that's come by from experience. So right now, that's who we are, and that's who Davis is, so be it.
Thank you. Next question, Dave Naylor. Please go ahead, Dave.
Guys, a question for both of you. Commissioner Stuart Johnston has explained his approach to the leadership of the league is to examine every aspect of the CFL and ask, is there a better way we could be doing this, whatever this happens to be? In the case of the football operations and coaches cap, what would you guys say in answer to that question?
Get rid of it.
I'll second that. So,
I mean, is there a better, do you have ideas about a better way, than just getting rid of it? And maybe that is your answer, but.
That is my answer.
Thank you. Last question, Farhan Lalji.
For each of you, let's start with Jason. A lot of people have to go through some adversity or failure elsewhere before they can find their ultimate successes. And when you were head coach the first time in Edmonton, you know, obviously you're doing things differently in Montreal that allowed you to have success right out of the gate. What did you take away from the Edmonton experience that you knew if you had another chance to do this again, you would do certain things differently?
Well, I mean, I think the one thing I will say, you know, I talk about self-reflection, you know, when you talk about discipline and you talk about focus, and, you know, sometimes you can show your emotions and you don't know how that affects your whole team at times. You know, do they look like you're out of control or do they look like you're in control? You know, I know when I get emotional, I'm in the most control I can possibly be. I can assure you that. I think clearly, I think better. I feel like when I played better that way. I always looked for those moments. But as a head coach, I don't know that I necessarily needed it. And I think it could have been at a detriment at times for our team. And when I talk about being the most disciplined team in the league, if you want that, I better show a little bit more discipline. So that was my biggest self-reflection in all of it, was if I want a disciplined football team, maybe I need to start with me. And when I say let's react to things this way, or nothing they say, nothing they do, that's a very common theme in our locker room. And when I show penalties at the end of games in the next week, you know, that's the talk. It starts with me, and it starts my reactions. And I try to get the best out of the guys. And I feel like it's worked. It's worked here. We are right there with the most disciplined team in the league with the Winnipegs. You know, Winnipeg's done it 8 straight years, led the league, the least amount of penalties, and their focus is always paramount. So, you know, that's one thing I wanted to be better at, and I made a concerted effort to do that.
Yourself, Danny, and Noel have been together at a few different stops.
How important is that alignment to know that you have each other's backs and you think things the same way?
I think it's the most important thing you can have is relationships in the building, from the top all the way throughout the building, but in particular the GM, the head coach, your defensive coordinator, your coaches in general. I mean, having great relationships with people, having gone through a lot of different moments and games and situations in life, it just builds on it, and it's easy to communicate, easy to have each other's back, and want to do well for each other. And but it's the absolute most important thing I think in sports is having that relationship.
Corey, one for you. I mentioned, Jason had to go through a level of adversity or failure. You haven't as a coach. You've won everywhere. First year as a D coordinator in Toronto, you win a Grey Cup. You come here 2 years later, you're in the Grey Cup. And I'm sure you're going to give credit to a lot of other people, but you are the common denominator in many of those situations. So what have you done in your mind that's allowed you to have success without having to had failure yet?
Yeah, appreciate that, but with all due respect, plenty of failure, plenty, daily, to be honest with you. And that's the fun part, is understanding that we try to chase perfection, knowing that the finish line is never there, but we love to chase. We screw up a rep or something, or if we're bad, we didn't coach a detail good enough. To me, that's failure. Clearly we've lost games last year, tons of failure. To me, I look at that as opportunities for us to learn and grow. And that, to me, that's the fun part, man. And this team is excellent because that's how the whole team is built. Whether we win or not, everybody's eager to get in to find out how the hell can we be better. So plenty of failure. Yeah, that's how I'd answer that one.
Thank you. That concludes today's media conference. And gentlemen, everyone, thank you for taking part in today's media event. Merci tout le monde pour votre présence aujourd'hui. A few housekeeping items before we conclude. If you have not already done so, please make your way to the RBC Convention Center to pick up your media credentials before the accreditation office closes at 9 p.m. Si vous ne l'avez pas fait encore, je vous invite à vous rendre au RBC Convention Center pour récupérer votre accréditation. Le bureau d'accréditation ferme à 21 h. We issued an advisory with a QR code to join the WhatsApp group through which CFL Comms will provide the latest updates and information for your convenience. And finally, up next, beginning at 3:45 p.m., we will conduct a media availability with Trevor Harris, Thomas Bertrand-Hudon, Tavon Campbell, and AJ Allen from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Again, thanks everyone.